So mulching is covering the soil with some kind of materials that will enable the soil to be covered from direct sunshine, which could affect the soil. Evaporation of water from the soil could be affected by exposing the soil. So you need to mulch it. Mulching will mean covering. You cover the soil, except the openings where you have planted. Those are the places that you leave open. Covering the soil is a very good agricultural practice. You have an advantage. Moisture is retained in the soil for a very long time when you mulch. It also helps the farmer to control weed. Weed is not the farmer's friend at all. Weed is not the friend of the farmer. And the cost of weeding is so high. Many farmers have discovered that mulching is cheaper for them than bringing people to weed the beds for them. Some farmers had experiences with people weeding for them, because in the course of weeding they have cut roots of the plants, and you lose a lot of plants because they may have assumed that everything is weed and they have cut your plants. Because some people weeding for you do not even know which one is plant and which one is weed. So it is a very good practice to mulch. There are many materials. People are so creative, and people are so creative, they have found out so many materials that could be used to mulch and cover the beds. In fact, there are some people who are already developing very modern ways of making sure that the soil is protected from high rate of evaporation. One of the first materials very common to us is straws. Straws are used, and rice straws are the commonest. For areas where rice is planted, rice straws are used to cover the beds. They are used to cover the beds and is very effective. Sometimes the rice straws are also used to cover even the furrows, so that the furrows could be mulched too. The essence of that one is to suppress the weeds that might disturb you even within the furrows. So straws, rice straws, straws from other types of maybe grasses. But that of grasses, you need to be very careful. If you want to use grasses, then it must have been grasses that have not produced seeds. Because if you use grasses that are very matured, they have seeds. When you put them in your farm, the seeds will begin to germinate, and you still battle with weeds. So if you want to use grasses, it has to be grasses that do not have seeds already. We also have the mulching frame, which is sold in the market. Rolls of mulching frame, which is also common practice within a lot of modern farmers. The mulching frame is a nylon material that is in rolls, which the farmer uses to cover the beds. One of the good quality ones is the one that has two colors. It has a black side, it has a gray side that reflects light in the day. It has an advantage because those lights reflected enters the eye of whitefly and some pests, and where you have such mulching film, you have driven whiteflies away with some other pests. You've driven them away without doing anything, so they run away. But mulching film, because it's nylon material, it's polythene material, it also has a disadvantage if you do not handle it well, because the pieces of those materials, if littered in your farm, could become a problem for your plants. You know, when they mix with the soil, they are not biodegradable, so they become a disadvantage. They can also obstruct the roots of your plants when you plant in a soil where such materials are trapped inside your soil. It could also become a big problem for a plant. The plant will be struggling, the roots cannot do well. So those who use it are usually very careful the way they use it. There are other people that use different materials like sawdust. Some people use sawdust, those who have it in excess. The truth is that you use what is available to you. I've also seen some people covering their beds with the leaves of plantain because that is what they have. So they use it on those beds. Then some people in some villages where they have a lot of palm fruits, you find out that they also use materials from the palm, the chaff from oil processing. So when they remove the chaff from the palm kernel, after squeezing out the oil, some farmers use that to also cover their farms. So these are the kind of materials you can use. The aim is to cover your beds in such a way that evaporation is not very easy, it's not very high. You know, the evaporation out of the liquid in the ground, that is the water, the evaporation is not very easy. So it slows down the evaporation. Secondly, it suppresses the weed.